I
Setting
think
up,
we're here. I see something.
yeah, so setting up your meeting for Facebook Live. Just thinking about it.
Yeah, it shows live on mine.
You might be live.
I might be talking live right now to somebody, right?
All right,
Say
we're
I'm,
live.
are we live? Okay, I was gonna say I might be talking to somebody here because it's showing live on Facebook on my end. So, hey friends, we are checking in here, Starter Girls Live on our page, and we just want to see how you guys are doing. And Amy and I thought it would be super fun to jump on here and just kind of touch base with you guys. And if you saw our title up there, how to keep your head above the water, right?
Yes.
So we've all been in this what we call Corona crisis. What now? What day are we on, Amy? Where are we at?
No, well, I started hiding in my bunker before.
I know. Most people. I was gonna say you've been in your bunker since Wednesday of the prior week. Am I right? Because I went networking. Yeah, I went networking the Thursday, which was a week ago Thursday. And so, yeah, you've been kind of hunkered down the entire time. So, oh my goodness, and you're still smiling. I love it. You're still smiling. So we thought it would be fun to get on here and tell you what we are doing, to get through this, because what we know is we can't control what we can't control. The only thing we can control is what we think and what we do for ourselves. So we thought it'd be fun to get in here and talk about that. So I'm going to let Amy start and go and tell us, Amy, what are you doing over there to help keep your head above the water?
So one of the things that I'm doing is trying to get some exercise in, and you and I were talking about that a little bit. And I do like to do like Pilates and yoga and stuff like that. And so I have been doing the Beachbody on Demand, which I love. And right now they even have where you get a couple weeks free if you've never done it before. You can even go to YouTube and you can find some. There's a lot of streaming services that are offering like a free couple of weeks or a couple of months or whatever, just to get on it. But there's lots of free resources, and it just gives you a way to kind of break it up a little bit. I know in a second you're going to talk about body weight and some other things that I'm doing as well. But sometimes I get bored, so I gotta like have something fun.
I got a question for you. Do your dogs join you when you're doing that?
Yes, like especially if it's like yoga or Pilates, anything that's like on a mat, they end up on like my yoga mat with me, or I always have couches kind of by me, so they'll be like on the couch behind me, like giving me support.
That's so awesome. Well, it just reminded me, because when Paige used to do her stretches after she would run on the floor, it's like the cat would get on the mat, the dog would be on the mat. I'm like, how are you even doing that? They're like all right there, And I know, like you and I were talking a few minutes ago, like every time I get on my elliptical back here, I joke, I always make this joke, like, let me go do my crappy workout, because I know when I get in there, I'm going to have to like get cats out of my space. I'm like worried I'm going to hit one of them with the, the thing that goes back and forth.
Yes.
I'm afraid I'm going to like hit one in the head or something, because they're like always like right there stalking me.
That's so funny.
What is it with animals and exercise? Like they like to stalk you.
So you're on the phone, they want your attention. It's a thing. It's definitely.
Yeah, they're like kids. So what else are you doing then?
So some of the other stuff that I was kind of thinking of, because you and we are sharing some different things, is I thought, well, what's kind of like outside of the box? Like, especially if you have your family around, you've got kids around. And so I was like, wouldn't it be fun to do like a dance party? And that's a really great way just to like get those endorphins going, be kind of silly. I'm actually listening right now to a course that's done through the Yale University on how to be happy. And, it's just about being silly. I mean, I've even heard some people say you need to be silly up to 5 times a day. And I know right now, a lot of us are not doing that. There's another thing. I'll have to post it like below, because my cousin's kids did it. It's called Indian leg wrestling. And it is the most hysterical thing. If you have kids at home, you have to do this. And even adults, like if you got like, like I could see your grown kids like doing this, like
Indian leg wrestling. Is it like their leg wrestling?
Like, kind of face opposite ways. Like, like here's one person's head, here's another person's head. And you like lock arms. And then you fight with your legs, like the legs go against each other, and you end up turning the other one over, whoever wins. It's really funny. It's like very entertaining. Like we did tournaments of this, like with all the kids in our family. And it was like, even for the adults, we were laughing. It was so fun. So just having like that good energy, I think, we need like those endorphins.
Yeah. Right. No, that's great. I had never heard of that before. That's kind of
I
fun.
know.
I can totally see Paige and
just like,
yeah, I can totally see Paige and Sean like doing that. Like, and they're like, Sean's almost like 6 foot now, and I could just see these two like trying to, and then they probably would end up fighting at some point. At some point, somebody's going to get pissed.
It's going to go down. It's going to go down.
And then
you
it's
can
going to
have
go down.
Tournaments. Like the person who wins that one, then they go, they go against each other. I mean, it's really funny.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, you got to give that a go. And then the other thing I'm really doing just for myself for self-care is like, I'm really trying to make sure I get enough sleep because we have enough time to do that. And for me, if I don't get 8 hours, I get sick. So, and even if I wasn't out in the world, I'd probably still somehow
get sick. You need sleep. Yes, you need sleep.
Yes, I do. So that, and just catching myself when I start to be anxious or stressed out, because what's on my calendar right now? Like, somebody the other day was posting and they're like, oh my gosh, I've been in meetings all day. And I was like, it's Corona. Like, really? Like, how many
They're in Zoom. They're Zooming it. Everybody's Zooming it right now.
Awesome. I have like a couple meetings a week right now. I don't have a couple meetings a day. So, I mean, like, it seems just like a silly thing, but it's like we normally are stressed out. We're kind of used to just going and overachieving and all that. So this really does give us a chance to kind of relax, and there's really no reason for us to be super stressed out. So just trying to catch myself and like breathe or yeah. So what are you doing? Because you're staying nice and healthy.
Well, and I say that I'm not happy about my gym not being open. I will tell you that. Like, it's hard because you got to regroup. But today I went out and went running, and surprisingly the weather was beautiful today. There were a lot of people out, and as I mentioned to you earlier, it was kind of funny because we took the dog out, but it was interesting because there'd be people that would like kind of walk by and they were like, no big deal. And then there'd be other people that would kind of like scooch off to the side a little bit. And I don't, know if it was, they were social distancing because of Corona or my dog, like, and then, so we did that today. Like I said, the weather was gorgeous, but this week well, first I will say my sleep has been totally off all week. I'm up at 5 a.m. every day. This week has been like hit or miss. It's like, what's the point of being up at 5 o'clock? I've got nowhere to be today. Like the highlight of my day is I'm going to go see if I can hunt toilet paper, like, so, like I went to 3 stores this week and never found any. I'm like, what is up with that mess? Okay. So anyways, we won't talk about that conversation.
But you really need some and not.
No, we have it. We have it. I'm not worried about my kids. Like, I have it. I just want to make sure that, like if my oldest and runs out, like, here, I got a roll for you or something, Yes. I'm not even trying to stock up on that. But it's this week, my sleep has been like crazy because I've been staying up to like 1 a.m, and then I'm getting up at like 7, and then I'm like, I feel like I have a hangover all day because I'm off my routine. So I finally, I don't know, I want to say about Wednesday, I recognized that 2 things were happening again, or actually 3. One, I was letting my anxiety take the best of me, and I wasn't reading and I wasn't doing my to-do list. And you think, okay, well, what do you have to put on a to-do list when you have nowhere to be? Well, I'm like, okay, what do I normally put on that to-do list? It's like my animals, my exercise, my reading. And so even with my list being so minimal, I went back to doing that list again. And that helped me because that's really, for me, that's like my security blanket. That's where I feel like, hey, I've got my control, is that list. And so that really helped. I will tell you, this is the first time in a long time that I've been off of a sleep schedule, like seriously, because I am very meticulous about that. And that has really been a tough thing. I mean, I told myself, you got to get back, make yourself get up at 6 because this is not working. So doing the to-do list is helping me. The reading, right now I'm reading Gabrielle Bernstein's Judgment Detox. Have you read that?
It sounds
it's deep. It's like it's a really good. I mean, she gets in there and talks about a lot about like judgment, the judgment we're placing on people, why we're doing that. So I'm in the midst of that right now, doing that. But as far as like even, we talked about meditation and exercise. So a little bit on meditation, I actually studied transcendental meditation when I was kind of in the middle of all of my health crisis in 2016, between 2014, 2017. I want to say somewhere around 2015, I studied that. And the really neat thing about that is, it's like meditation. They basically teach you a word that you can use that will help you focus, and it's not tied to anything. So you can't think like money. What's tied to money, right? They give you something that you will have like no correlation to it. But the benefits of meditation are really, a couple things. They always talk about it being really good for helping with creativity, but I think it also grounds you and brings you back down so you can find a little bit of peace in there, and as we said, we can't control what's going on out there right now. All we can control is how we're going to take it, perceive it, and deal with it, and so meditation is great for that. But in terms of exercise, running, the other thing I do, and I go back to like when I'm traveling and I can't get to a gym, a lot of times I have to improvise what I'm going to do. So I do a lot of HIIT training, and that may be anywhere from like, 20 to 50 squats, and then maybe a 1 to 3 minute run cycle, and then some push-ups. And I might do that cycle, 3, 4, 5 times until I either hit a time limit that I'm trying to hit, or until I'm just exhausted and don't want to do anymore. So squats are great. I always tell people squats are really good. Lunges, obviously the cardio in there. And if you can get some push-ups in, I mean, that's great upper body strength. So keep yourself healthy.
Oh, I was just saying, do you do planks?
I do planks. Yeah, I do those. In fact, you know what? Thank you for reminding me of that, because I haven't done those in a little while. I need to. This is a good time to work on the core right now, right? I can't get to the gym to do my pull downs and all that stuff. I'm like, you know what? I talk about and I used to say this about my health. Like, you don't know what you don't have until the minute you don't have it. You know what I mean? And I always took my health for granted until I spent all that time not really having it. And so that's why I value it so much now, that I don't want to go back to where I was. But it's the same thing we're going through right now. We don't realize what it's like not to have amenities until we no longer have the amenities.
I know.
It's
true. Yeah. One of the things I do every day, Rachel Hollis has this really cool Start Now journal, and you write out like 5 things that you're grateful for. And then you write out like your 10 goals in 10 years, and you write this out every single day, and it doesn't take very long. And so I like that. Like, I've been like really being consistent on that in my routine. And it's amazing how many days I'm writing, I'm thankful that I'm healthy. And normally, and even you and I feel like we're kind of on a different level, because like, I mean, my trainer one day was like, I forget, like, cause I stopped training with him like last week, and he was like, this was before anybody was doing it. I was like, I don't think I can do it. I'm concerned. And he's like, I forget you even have a problem. And I was like, well, it's because I have to do all this extra stuff. If I don't, then I will get sick. Like I can't be willy-nilly with it. But even in that situation, it's still like, I take it for granted, So every day it seems like, oh my gosh, thank goodness I'm still healthy. I mean, we were joking about, I had this conversation with you and my sister where you wake up every day and you're like, do I have Corona? You're like, do I have a sore throat? Do I have a cough?
You're like, I'm feeling a scratch. Am I sick? And then you wake up and you're
like, did I get it for going to Kroger?
Yeah, you're like, no, you need to drink. Or like this morning I woke up and my stomach was hurting. And one of the things they said was that some people get digestive issues. Okay. So I get up this morning and I'm like, yeah, my stomach hurts. Am I having digestive issues? And then I'm like, no, you went to bed hungry. You're like hungry. Get up and go cook breakfast. But I'm like in bed this morning and I'm lying there and I'm just like, why does my tummy hurt this morning? I'm like, I didn't eat breakfast till like 11 o'clock today. Like, what's up with that? My breakfast ended up becoming brunch, because it was I looked at the clock and I'm not kidding. I was like, it's 11:25 and I'm finally eating my cream cheese pancakes. Like, I eat at 6 o'clock in the morning, like every day. And I'm like, we're like 5 hours behind schedule here,
I know. That must have been like a 20-hour fast for you or something ridiculous.
It was. Yeah. Because I ate dinner and then didn't go until, so yeah, I was hungry. My first piece of food today was chocolate. So, hey, listen, what's so funny is I was talking about this. You're going to get a kick out of this because, I don't do carbs. Like, I just really don't do carbs because I don't feel good. So for 3 days, I stocked Andy's because they were like closed. And I'm like, I need to get to Andy's before they close this place down. Like, I need to get to Andy's. Right. So finally I drive by with Sean one afternoon and I'm like, Andy's is open. We got to go get it really fast. We got to go get it. So this was like, I don't even know what day I had it, but I'm not kidding you. I had a headache the very next day after, because of the sugar. So then when I went to the grocery store, I'm like, like when we're having stress or anxiety, naturally people tend to gravitate towards junk food, like, right. And I'm not any different. I tell people I'm not immune to that, even though I don't eat carbs on a daily basis. When I get stressed, that's what I want to go for. So I go into the store and I'm like, okay. So I get into Tom Thumb and I'm like, where's the Enlightened ice cream? I bought 3 of them this week, 3 ice creams this week. So I've had Andy's. I bought 3 Enlightens this week. I polished off the cookies and cream. I have eaten almost the butter pecan, and I'm on white chocolate raspberry right now. Then I went and found sugar-free pudding, and I'm like, oh, this is the bomb.
You're so funny.
Right. And then what else? I bought something else that was like, I don't know what it was. I loaded up on Kind bars, I think, and I bought a big thing, a box of Quest bars. Like,
that's
I'm like,
for you. Because you literally, like, we have this conversation because, like, at our house, like, you have Halo or Enlightened, and like, my husband will finish one off in a night. Yeah, most of the time, it takes me 2 nights or something. Right. And then I talk to you, and you're like, "Oh, I have like 2 bites, and it lasts me like 2 weeks, and then I forget about it." And I'm like,
"Yeah, I do.
I would forget about my ice cream and just, yeah, I don't know what that's about." So that's a lot for you.
Yeah, it is. I've had a lot of and it's so good. I've had a lot of ice cream this week, but I eat those Enlightens a lot of time, like for a meal. Like if I'm going to do that where I'm just going to like eat it, it's almost like a protein shake. So I might just eat that for my meal. But it's so funny because I can tell that I've been a little distressed because my hands want to go for like the garbage, and I'm like, no, you don't need that. Leave it there. You're not going to feel good. And I get a headache from it. So anyways, I just thought you would think that's hilarious. And our listeners probably thinking, because I'm so disciplined about like everything all the time. And then I'm like, where's the junk? Like, where's the junk right now? Like I need it.
Well, and I will say the biggest thing I really learned, and I'd heard it for years, 4 years, like you can't just get rid of a habit. You have to replace it. And it wasn't until I was trying to get rid of sugar this summer. And I finally, like, I had this addiction to gummy bears and gummy stuff. And finally, like, they came out with those like low carb gummy things. And once I replaced those, I literally was able to get rid of my sugar addiction. So, I mean, that's what I'll say to you guys too. Jennifer and I obviously are still eating junk, but it's healthier junk. Like if I now have regular candy, I wake up in the morning and my husband and we call it a sugar hangover, because we're so thirsty and we feel really bad, where I can eat those low carb gummies, or I can have a Halo Top or an Enlightened or whatever. And when I wake up in the morning, I don't have that feeling like at all. Like there's no like, oh, I feel awful. Like my body is unhappy. So, I mean, it's just about replacing. It's not that we're perfect.
No, we're not perfect by any means. And I have always said this, like I'm one of those people, I'm a big believer about sustainable changes. And, even when I coach people all the time, I tell them, look, it's okay to give yourself grace every once in a while if you fall off of something. But the idea is to get yourself back on the plan. So am I going to eat that custard every day? No, because I paid for it. I had a headache the next day from all the sugar. I felt awful. And of course, I woke up thinking, oh my gosh, do I have Corona today? And I'm like, no, Jennifer, you have a sugar hangover. Okay, hello.
Yes, the sugar hangover.
That's what you get for eating the ice cream. But gosh, it was so good. It was so good. So that's why I went and got me some of the Enlightened, because then I can feel like at least I'm getting a little bit of my junky food, but I'm not going to have all that nasty extra sugar that I don't need. And who knows, I might be back. I might just go back to Sprouts and just stock up on about 10 of them and put them all in the freezer, and who knows. Might be fat before this is all done, right?
That's right.
All the protein ice cream I'm eating. So, but anyway,
toilet paper, but you got some ice cream. So we're
the toilet paper thing. Gosh, the people in their toilet paper, man, I tell you.
I know. So, if any of my friends can't find toilet paper, just let me know. I'll do like a drive-by at midnight and like put a couple rolls.
You're like gonna go in the middle of the night.
I don't stocked up that much, but I mean, it's me and Luke, and guys don't use toilet paper that much. So
yeah. No, I mean, I just joke about it because I'm so like, it just baffles me. I'm like, what is up with this toilet paper? How about we
start weird? Like that's the thing. I thought, how about it's gonna be weird, and then everybody's gonna get over it, and then it's still, you get on the house and there's nothing. I'm like,
I feel like we should get hung up on healthy things. Like we should get hung up on. Like, interestingly enough, I go in the grocery store the other day, and it's so funny because I go to like there's plenty of lettuce, plenty of that. There's no bread. There's none of the carb stuff like that. The bread's gone, the pasta's out, like you go to find, like the other thing, vinegar, like I can't find vinegar. We need vinegar just to clean our houses. Like I buy this stuff all the time. I can't find vinegar, but I go in the healthy section. And of course, Sean, my youngest, does a lot of like vegetarian, vegan stuff. That stuff is perfectly intact.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's all there. Like tofu, all of that, I can load up on all of that. But then of course, you know, you go to find like the meat. The other day I went to go get meat. I'm like, I need meat. And it's like $7 a pound for ground beef, you know? And I'm like, I mean, you just can't, you know, I don't know.
I know. We need to go make friends with some farmers.
Exactly. I think that, you know, eventually here people are gonna probably settle down with some of that. I hope.
I feel like it already is a little bit. So
yeah.
I love it. Well, it's good to see your face.
You too. We haven't seen each other.
Exactly. And next week, you actually ventured out this last week and interviewed some people.
Oh yeah, these are going to be good. They're awesome. I was looking at the recordings today. We've got Ben Jones coming on, friend of mine. His family owns Goosehead Insurance, and so he just at 25 years old purchased his own franchise and came back to his roots with Goosehead. So fun interview with him. He talked a little bit about playing football at BYU. And just kind of, you know, I don't want to tell everything, but it's good. And then the other one that I'm super excited about, and I was sad that you weren't a part of that one, was that we actually got to interview both Zach and Nicole Bitter. Zach has his own Wikipedia page, Wikipedia page. He has both. He has an American and a world record in the 100-miler and a world record in the 12-hour run. And he claimed 2 titles, like had an American record or world record. And then, as he says in the interview, he had a little bit of leg left in him, ran another 4.8 miles to do 104.8 miles to claim the 12-hour world record. Wow. So all in one event. So incredible podcast. I mean, it was good. It was good.
He's been on Joe Rogan.
He has been on Joe Rogan Experience. Yes. Interestingly, I asked him a question, and you guys will hear it on there. I asked him because he did say on that podcast that he was going to train to do a coast to coast run. And I did ask him on the podcast. So you're going to have to listen to get his answer on that, what he says about it. But yeah, it's a good show.
I know. I love it. So even though we're not actually quarantined in Texas, but even though everybody is kind of locked up and whatever, we do have some fresh episodes coming to you next week. So, and we had 2 fresh episodes this last week. So anyway, just be on the lookout. And I like what we're doing because it's positive, it's encouraging, it gets people, you know, in different headspaces. And I think all of us right now, I mean, even me, like, you know, I always joke and talk about, you know, you go back to your level of training. Well, I mean, I've had a lot of head training, but even me, I'm like, whoa. And I know you and I both talked about that. Like, as much practice as we've had on working on our heads for years and years and years, still like, wow, didn't know I could get so dark, maybe because I'm extroverted or whatever. But I mean, it's crazy. So anyway, it's nice to have some good positive things happening and some things you can kind of be encouraged by, hearing different perspectives and positive people.
This just reminds me really quick before we go. Have you seen that meme that's been out there? And it says something about like, have you checked on your extroverted friends? They're not okay.
We're not okay.
It just made me think of that.
There's TikTok videos of it that say we have our word quota for the day. We have our hug quota. We have our fist bumps. We have they're like going down like the list of all the things that we are lacking in. So,
right. Yeah. Thank goodness for Zooms, right? And these web things that we can do. I mean, you know, before we wouldn't have been able to do something like this. And the great thing is now we can kind of still interact a little bit so that we're not just in our walls of our house, like, you know, totally hiding out. So, but no, I'm with you. I get that. And I'm like yesterday, I was like, okay, like if I have to sit in here another day and just be like, we need to talk to people. So this has been fun. And we hope our listeners had a good time and entertained with us. We try to keep it fun and educational. What do we say? We empower, we entertain, and what do we do? It's educate, empower, and entertain.
Yes.
What we try to do.
I know. And you have to go check out that Indian leg wrestling for your family.
Absolutely. I'm going to go look it up. Sounds fun.
I love it.
So.
Awesome. Thanks, Jennifer. Great to see you.
All right. Take care. We'll see you soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.